Good morning. Good morning. Got a morning Java, courtesy of my father, who we have this AeroPress thing. Makes the best coffee ever. It's just like kind of like an extra tall espresso. It's pretty good. Today, guys, acting week 10. If it's your first time here, welcome. Essentially, I made the commitment to become an actor about 10 weeks ago, after being in sales and trying to start my own businesses for the last couple of years, with the sole pursuit of money, making it, that kind of stuff, but felt spiritually disconnected from what I actually wanted to be doing. And I got into acting school. That's probably the most significant milestone, but that doesn't start until September, and now I've been unemployed for a few months trying to figure my shit out, and it's time to get a job, because I hit a point of like, I was buying something, I'm like, I don't know if I can buy that, and that's a shitty feeling. It's a well worthwhile pursuit to at least not be dead broke, and praise God, he delivered a job. I had my first shift as a mover yesterday. Hard physical work. I haven't been at an in-person job in like almost 2 years, so that was like a cool thing. I did a couple personal training sessions like last year, but that was it. So it's been like a couple of years since I quit my telecom job and went into what's called high ticket sales, which is fully remote, with the goal of being a digital nomad. Ooh. Like you can live wherever you want, location freedom, time freedom, financial freedom. Holy sales pitch. So yeah, it was interesting being back. I liked the people that I was around. It was good vibes. It was actually pretty chill. Yeah, it'll help me. I'm not exactly in debt, but it's one of those things where, like, without dipping into my investments, it's like the cash on hand to pay off my credit card bill is low. But guys, I'm viewing this as an opportunity, because I heard the G himself, Terry Crews, Brooklyn Nine-Nine, what is it, Red, Untouchables, I think, whichever Stallone movie, action movie, Training Days, and that one. Yeah, good actor, right? Jacked as shit too. But he said, when he was coming up, he was working security, working a bunch of odd jobs and stuff like that. He got a job as a janitor, and he was like, instead of just mumbling and groaning about it, being hard on himself, like, oh, you're a piece of shit, you're behind on your bills, like, you're not doing this. It's like, man, what if I was getting paid $1 million to sweep this floor right now? How would I do it? And I think just that attitude in general, where, hey man, this is a gift, because it's real easy when you're doing work, or maybe you're at your job and people are treating you like shit, or you're doing something that it's not your purpose. Not advice, by the way, guys. This is me talking about me. It's real easy for me to get down on myself, real easy. And I've had this aversion to work, for the past few years, where like, I viewed the 9 to 5, or just work that's disconnected from purpose to be, like, not it, where it's something that's pulling you away from what you actually want to be doing. So then to return and try and place that perspective, like, hey, it was day one, all right, so let's not get ahead of ourselves. But just to view it as like, hey man, here to make some money, here to just do my thing, and just trying to be positive, be nice to people, just take it as a gift. So yeah, it actually was pretty positive, like when I viewed it positively, when I just viewed it as something that like, hey, this is just a chance to just make money and just like pay off that little debt that's building up. And like I got a couple other things that I got to pay for with, like, I want to get some headshots next month, so that's gonna be a few $100. I have to accept my offer still to film school, or like confirm it, which is like another few $100. And there's a couple other things that I want to get, and I'm still interviewing / waiting to hear back from some other stuff. So we'll see. But I started rereading this guy. You're just gonna have to live with it. Richest Man in Babylon. Now, I read this book a while ago, and I want to make a whole separate video on my Substack about just starving artist lifestyle, and like just on the money subject in general, because it seems like we've lost a lot of good artists just because they can't afford to pay their bills or endure the being broke sucks, right? Like, it just fucking sucks. So we've lost a lot of good artists because they just haven't been able to endure that. And then the people who can endure that are typically, you know, either extremely gifted or, you know, they have financial backing in that. But guys, I've been trying to fire up on the Substack. If you want to check that out, it's gonna just pretty much just be like my landing page for all my stuff. So it's just gonna be like one cohesive thing. It's free. There's articles, videos, and I will be posting some behind the scenes stuff that, you know, I record some stuff. I don't want to put it out on YouTube right away. That'll be behind a small paywall, but, you know, all that's completely optional. But Substack is gonna be the landing page, and it's some stuff I've already posted that I haven't even posted on YouTube. So if you want, check that out. But on money, I want to make a video on this because, like, this starving artist thing is so challenging, or just like the idea of, like, you know, being dead broke, where I was inspired by someone like Arnold. I read his book Total Recall maybe 3 times now, or at least the part where he's like coming up. I've probably read that maybe 5 times or listened to it in the audiobook. He had a business where him and Franco Colombo, he had some savings and money from working at Gold's Gym as a PT and just like doing bodybuilding and like promo. He had pretty much had a sales job for Joe Weider, where he would just like sell products and supplements and stuff like that and go tour around. And then there was not much money in bodybuilding then at all. Still isn't a ton, but, you know, he had some semblance of money. So him and Franco Colombo, they could buy like discount bricks. So then they just started walking around in all like the ritziest neighborhoods in LA, and they're like knocking on people's doors. They're like, these are like vintage European bricks. And Arnold's got like that thick Austrian accent. And Franco Colombo, I believe, is he Italian or Spanish? I don't know. But anyway, they would go back and forth, and they pretty much like argue with each other. And they had this like whole sales pitch worked out where they would essentially just say like, these are like super premium bricks. And then they're like, do you want us to landscape your yard? So then they'd landscape for people. They would redo people's yards. They'd hire out their bodybuilder friends to go do labor because they needed work too, and they needed to, you know, it was good work for strong guys to do. So they had a business, right? So Arnold, then he did like a house hack kind of property buy where he had like an apartment building of like six units, and then he just lived in one of them, and then the rest of them just paid his rent, and then he just like got his friends to live with him, or, you know, other people that were in the area. So for me, like, I feel like the key tenet in Richest Man in Babylon in the book is save 10% of your earnings, right? And obviously, like, if you can generate income in general, that's always going to be ideal. Meisner, I'm reading Meisner on acting too. I'm staring at it, but I'm not gonna go grab it for you guys. But he said it takes 20 years to learn how to be an actor. And I assume 10 to 20 years to start getting paid to do it at a high level. So to endure a 10 to 20 year storm, and like in that time, probably, you know, wanting to do some some normal people stuff of like getting married, uh, maybe children at that time frame. I'd love to have children, but just on that time frame, I'm not sure when that'll happen. God's will, but um, being able to just buy and live normally would be great. So for me, it got me thinking about my whole reason of being in sales and business was like I needed to make money so that I could pour that into art. But then the types of work that I was in, it was so all consuming that it just became infeasible spiritually and physically to like even have energy to do anything else, because it was like 100% commission, super stressful environment, super high turnover. It's like that's not it. So then for me to think of like multiple income sources, and like the key tenet being the richest man of Babylon was like save 10% of your earnings. It's like if you can try and lower those expenses as much as possible, not financial advice, guys, I'm just literally just talking this out loud, but if I can lower my expenses as much as possible and eventually say buy a property where I can rent out the basement or rent out, you know, a room or two within that property, you know, obviously like there's cons to that, but where I can cut out a large chunk of my expenditures and then still try and keep my income high and still try and keep keep that up, because you know you never know. Because how I'm viewing this is like I don't know when my spurt of luck will come. I might just catch it in the first couple years. I might catch it in 20. So I don't know. So, but regardless, I feel like I still have to plan as if I'm going to endure a storm. So I love what Arnold did, where he had a business that could fund his lifestyle. He was still into bodybuilding. He was still like working that day job per se. And then he would spend all the rest of his time on acting, on, you know, trying to help his accent, doing like English college courses, some business college courses at his school, and just spending time just trying to get better. And I feel like when that initial stress of like not being broke is taken away, that's just a huge win. That's just a huge win when you're not like scrounging for money, and not being like, oh shit, I don't know if I can buy that, and it's like normal household items. Like that's a shitty feeling. That sucks. So for me, I'm trying to view it from the angle of like, okay, what are some investments that I can make? Because that's another principle in the book, is like with that 10% that you are saving from your income stream, whether it just be like, you know, even take labor work for an example. You make $4 grand a month. You just put the few $100 that you can save away as much as possible. Try and lower your expenses. I think it's also a good thing for me to be cutting the alcohol right now and like not. That was my biggest expenditure. I looked at my budget in the last 3 months. It was like alcohol was my biggest expense, which is like stupid. So it just doesn't need to be happening as much. So then for me, looking at it, it's like, okay, say that I can save a few hundred or $1,000 a month over the course of a year or 2 years. That's $10,000 to $20,000. Ideally, if I could save even more than that in that time frame and keep my expenses super low. I'll still have to decide if I want to move back to my hometown come April when film school ends. That could be a way to save money in a period of time as well. But yeah. So it'll be interesting to see what's going on. I was trying to think of some business ideas and stuff. If I can have a day job, if I can have like a side hustle or a business that's related to the skills that I have in that day job, I'm thinking either sales or some kind of brand management or a combination of both for that like main skill that generates me income. Because you know, physical labor, it's good. My back feels a good pump today, but you know, if I can rely not fully on my body, because if I put out my back one time, then my income source is gone. So I'd rather, if I can have a side hustle or business, I feel like I could make anywhere between 2,000 to 7,000 a month combining those two as it's like fully ramped up. If I can generate some other income sources through just small investments or real estate where I'm renting out a room in a property, obviously I need an initial down payment. In Canada, they have a first-time home buyers, which is like you need somewhere between 3 and 5% down. So on like, just quick math, Toronto townhouse, 600,000. What is that? That 30 grand. So like I could save $30,000. Obviously, adding up other expenses, maybe more like $40,000 or $50,000. Then that could be a property, an initial property where I could get somebody in either in the basement or in a room or two, and that can be a good way to lower the largest cost of living, which is your actual space that you live in, right? Unless you have like a ridiculous car payment. I don't plan on getting a Porsche anytime soon, but I can see a way through. I'll just have to be tactically smart, and I think that with money, my sole focus, which has been a mistake, is let me not worry at all about investments or strategy. Let's just focus sheerly on income, and I think that there's a place for that. But for me to endure this storm, I think that it's going to be a minute probably. So I need to build a moat, essentially, where I can at least live frugally and exist, while ideally work being flexible. Because say I book a job, it's 2 months intensive. It's hard for me to just hold down a day job and be like, hey, I'm just gonna leave for 2 months. Is that cool? Or I'm running a full-time business where I need to be in person all the time. It's like, hey guys, I'm gonna fuck off for 2 months. It's like, that's kind of hard. It's kind of hard on your employees. It's hard on your colleagues that you're working with. It's hard on everybody. So if I can get to a point where I'm paying myself with some flexible income sources and have an investment property or some other kind of investment that is paying me, or at least like covering my bare minimum like monthly mortgage payment, that would be gorgeous. That would be ideal. And then anything extra that I book, either through acting, that's some kind of paid gig, or if it's voiceover or commercial or modeling, if I book anything else from there, then that's just like extra savings, which is beautiful. Which then I'm not solely reliant, and then I'm essentially I'm out of the continuous hustle. Obviously, if my income expenses rise, say that I have a child at that time, those expenses are going to rise, of course. And with marriage or wanting to move into a bigger place or do all those things, but those are bridges that need to cross when we come to them. But yeah, it's that's kind of the financial strategy that I'm trying to approach, and I'm still monologuing, trying to monologue daily. I got to pick a new one right now because I just uploaded the one to Substack, and I've been still trying to write, still trying to work on the feature. That's been put on the back burner. I've been trying to work more on the job was bigger in the last few weeks. Still gonna shoot out some applications, but yeah, feeling better, even though the money's not there right now. I feel like the way that I'm approaching the money, she'll come. This book has a line in it called the Goddess of Good Luck, how she blesses you. And yeah, I think that with the power of positive visualization, Sopranos with Chris, Adrian, you know how I practice the power of positive visualization? You're fairly negative most of the time, Chris. Yeah, I think that with just a good approach, good vibes, the vision is bigger than where you are right now, you know? And it's March 17th, heading off to Toronto in sub 6 months now. And it'll be exciting. I'm looking forward to it. And guys, I feel like we're making progress in the coming weeks as I stack up some more dough, as I pay off this small debts. I'm going to be looking towards headshots and then towards submissions for a bunch of agencies around the GTA. So that'll be cool. Different time, we'll talk about American versus Canadian representation. I'm still understanding that a bit more. But guys, check out the Substack. Gonna be writing on there a lot more, and posting on there a lot more. But yeah, appreciate you guys watching all the way through. All right, take it easy.